Welcome to CRM Audio, the Dynamics 365 podcast with Business Solutions MVPs George Dubinsky, Joel Lindstrom, and Sean the CRM Hobbit Tabor. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Kingsway Soft. Kingsway Soft is a leading integration solution provider offering software solutions that make data integration affordable and painlessly easy. Thousands of enterprise clients from over 65 countries and regions rely on Kingsway Soft to integrate data with various application systems in order to drive their business efficiency and fully leverage their information assets. Kingsway Soft is a leading provider of Microsoft Dynamics integration software, including Dynamics 365, CRM, AX, NAV, GP, SL, as well as many other applications such as Marketo, Dropbox, QuickBooks, and Salesforce. Whether you need one solution or several, Kingsway Soft works easily within the SSIS platform to make your integration process as quick and easy as possible. Many of their clients have seen 3 to 10 times greater data integration performance after switching to the SSIS integration toolkit.
All right, George. Well, it was unfortunate you couldn't be with us last time. What was your excuse?
I don't really remember. I think it was we delivering training content, and it's ungodly hours because training is scheduled on Microsoft time, which makes it something like 2 a.m. in the morning. So you have to get up and talk to people about CRM and Dynamics 365. Have you ever tried talking to people at 2 in the morning about Dynamics 365?
I haven't. The closest I had to that is one time I had to do a training session for a large group of Hitachi India resources. I think I was training them on Scribe, and it was something similar to that. It wasn't. I don't think it was 2 o'clock in the morning, but it was late night my time, and business hours their time. And I don't remember a lot from that training class. I think Gus Gonzalez told me one time about a class he taught where he was basically fell asleep during the class and didn't remember anything he did during it.
Yeah, it happens when you catch yourself talking about something and then you don't remember last 2 minutes of yourself talking. It's time to call for a break or say, now let's do the lab.
There's a couple of news items that we can discuss. One of the items is that the certification exams for Dynamics 365 are starting to roll out. The configuration and customization exam is now available. You could sign up today and take that, which is good. I had people asking me recently, what should I take? And I told them, I guess the only thing you can take is the 2016 exam, which right now is outdated, and now we have the new one. But bigger question is, do certification exams like this really matter anymore? What do you think, George? You're a trainer. You train people, I guess for certification. What do you think?
Depends. I think we discussed this topic before. If I'm talking to you, for example, right, and you tell me that, I just taken this exam, it doesn't add value to my perception of you as a professional, right? But if I'm looking for someone, like for a new hire, then it gives like a slight edge, everything else being equal. But then again, these days I would look more for other things even outside of Dynamics 365 world, community contributions. Are you active on GitHub, and so on and so forth? So what's your contribution? What your participation? How good you are in communicating, in investing into something that doesn't necessarily bring back, hard cold cash. So the profiles these days, the developers profiles and professional profiles these days, they differ from what they used to be, let's say 10 years ago. So I'd say value is marginal. Um, someone's taken this exam already, and I don't remember, one of our friends taken it, and there was a message saying that it's deeper and it's harder than the previous one.
Okay.
But I challenge, look, I challenge every one of our friends MVPs, business solutions MVPs out there. If you go out, it's an honor system, right? If you go out, take that exam without preparation, and you pass, let's say, more than 90%, I'll pay for your exam. But no cheating, like no prep. You just go and take it.
So you have to pass it with a 90% to get this offer?
Well, yeah. I mean,
okay.
Scrambling in is not an option. We all know enough sort of to get around. Though I think they raised the bar. It used to be, for Dynamics, used to be really low. Used to be like 70.
It was like 68, I think.
Yeah, something like that. And then they raised the bar. I think now it's 80. Maybe, I don't know. So, yeah, definitely. The one thing that always been bothering me about Dynamics exams, that there is no interactivity in those exams. I remember that one of the hardest exams I ever taken, and they were quite valuable at the time, were SQL exams, but you had to do something like, they had like virtual environment, simulation environment, where you had to go in and configure the system. That would give you the task and say, go, like, this is the outcome that we want. We want you to configure the system, and you had to go and, connect A to B and try things out and run commands and things like that. So it was fully simulated. So it was really nice. So there is no, it's still the game of Q&A game, still no interactivity. And I wonder what relevance it is to real life. Like, you're doing more projects than I do. Do you find exams relevant to your experience on the projects?
Yeah, I think I would agree that they're not a sign. They're a sign that you have been exposed to a wide variety of CRM or Dynamics 365 functionality, but they don't provide context to how really good you are at it. Or they might mean you know where the buttons are, but they don't show best practices, or they don't show how business process should work. And so, yeah, I think it's an indicator that, two people with similar backgrounds, the one with the certification, will be a step ahead of the others. But also, it's been an ongoing struggle with the brain dump, the test kings of the world, if you will. And that's something that, is a never-ending battle, because Microsoft can do whatever they want to put safeguards against that, and that's one of the reasons why I think they more frequently change the tests up now. Back when it was CRM 2011, you would have all the questions for years, and people would just buy the test king for it and go and learn the answers and take the test.
Yeah, it's been a problem. But how you manage, how you maintain those tests, it's beyond me. Like, with the current release cadence, how do you maintain relevance, and how do you maintain the quality of the content?
Yeah, and how do you keep the thing that makes me ask, are certification exams for Dynamics 365 relevant, is just the rapid pace of change. Because I haven't taken the exam, but I can guarantee there's already new stuff that's not included in the exam.
There probably would be lots of it. Yeah. So.
Right. Or even worse, they change several. they changed several things that changed the way the functionality works. So now the answer is wrong. That's been an issue in the past. So, okay.
Yeah, it has been. And basically, if you go by what you know, there will be 2 or 3 questions you're going to get wrong because the answer has changed.
Okay. So I'm going to be signing up for the exam. I'm not going to study. I'm going to sign up for a date in the next 2 weeks, and if I pass, I'll be looking for my money.
Okay, that's the deal. So I think for MVPs there is 2-for-1 offer anyway, so you can go and have a shot, free of charge.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But yeah, no prep, so it's on a system. So I trust you guys. You go in, you take it, 90%. I pay for it.
Oh, no honor system. I'm posting my transcript to Facebook.
No, I mean on a system like you're not allowed to prep. So the idea is you don't do any prep. You just go in.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's what I'm doing. Going in cold.
Yep. Okay, that's the deal. So what else new?
All right, another piece of news was that the Outlook app, the new Outlook add-in for CRM, now works in Outlook Mobile. With Outlook, Outlook Mobile had its 2-year anniversary since Microsoft acquired it. I can't remember what the app used to be called, but they basically acquired an Outlook-like app back 2 years ago and have remade it and now have added the Outlook app functionality in there, which besides the CRM app now means all these other great Outlook apps you can now use through there, like Wunderlist and other apps. So that's pretty exciting. I find there's several Outlook apps that I use quite a bit, and I'm excited to finally be able to use the CRM app through the Outlook on my phone.
Yeah, that's actually great. I caught myself already using Trello. So Trello's got an app. So basically, when you receive an email and you want to convert it to a card, it's like click, and you're done. So very, very easy and very fast.
So what exactly is Trello? I've heard of it, but I've never used it.
Oh, okay. Do you know Microsoft Tasks? Yeah, that's kind of better version of it. It's been around for a while. It's been set up by Fog Creek Software that used to make, or they still do make, Fog Bugs, and Joel Spolsky, baby, of Stack Overflow fame. Yeah, that's one of his products. It's basically a Kanban board on steroids with all the bells and whistles. And we find it that for smaller clients, people who would freak out if you ask them to go to, Visual Studio, Team Services, or use some more formal Scrum tools, they quite enjoy it because it's intuitive, it's easy to follow, easy to communicate, and it's informal enough, but at the same time it gives enough information and enough traction and plenty of add-ons for Trello that makes your life much easier. So anyway, so we do use it, as I said, for smaller clients, for smaller projects, more informal communication setup. So yeah, and I find that they now released a couple add-ons. Couple add-ons. They released add-on for Outlook, which works. They've got add-on for Outlook on iOS. They've got add-on for Outlook Mobile for OWA. It works. It works.
Now, I like the Outlook mobile app. I like the email part of it. I'm not crazy about the contacts or calendar part of it.
No, I don't like calendar at all. I find it confusing, and
you can't move an appointment if you put it on the wrong calendar. Like, I have multiple calendars, and occasionally I'll create something on the wrong calendar, my personal Outlook.com calendar, and there's no going back. You have to delete the appointment and recreate it. And I find the contacts part of it also extremely limited as far as how you can edit a contact after you've created it. And I also find that I miss, if I totally go to the Outlook app, I miss having the more fully integrated experience, especially in iOS, like being able to tell Siri to create an appointment for me or to, find a contact through the search screen. So I find myself using both, which is kind of weird because then you've got basically two apps checking your Exchange and using your battery up. Or you can say turn... What I found out is you could, in your iOS mail, you can turn off email syncing for your Exchange account and only have your contacts appointments go there. But that creates, just this weird double existence kind of thing. And so that's the part. I think it's a better email app. I don't really care for the contacts or appointments part.
I totally agree. That's what I use it as email app.
So you guys like the iOS email app better than the Outlook app?
Look who's here.
Exactly. I snuck in.
No, I don't. Well, yes and no. I mean, it's better and it's worse. They simultaneously improved it and made it worse at the same time.
One thing is better. When I was running late, I was sitting in a car. I wasn't driving, just to clear the record. So I was sitting in the car and I hit the button, reply on the appointment, hit the button, open appointment, and hit the button, reply. It said reply or reply to all. I said reply to all. And it immediately did pop up, I'm running late, or I think I'm not going to make it. So the only two suggestions. Like, why would you want to reply to a meeting 10 minutes before the meeting? And it came up and said, running late. Okay, done. So interesting, I'm running late is the first suggestion everywhere. Like, you send an SMS.
Yeah. Well, and it kind of makes sense historically, because if you're on your phone, that's pretty much what you're going to be using it for, right? If you're on your phone and you need to respond to somebody, that's typically what you're going to be using it for.
Yeah. I never seen anyone reply and saying, I'm right on time.
Well, that's true.
Good news, I'm going to be early to this meeting.
Well, especially when it comes to any appointments regarding our podcast. I don't think we've ever had that happen. Where one of us said,
Sean, you probably missed that part. Don't pretend that you were there all this time.
No. I'm not pretending. I snuck in exactly when I started speaking.
I did the offer. We were discussing the exam, and I did the offer for all MVPs.
I heard that part.
Business
yeah, he's got a standing offer. So yeah. I'm going to sign up for the customization exam and do no studying.
Yeah.
And if I get 90%, George is going to pay for it.
Yeah, but you got to get 90. I think I've gotten 90 twice.
I wasn't going to make it easy. I'd say, oh, Sean, come on in. If you answer one question out of 7, right.
Come on, we're CRM tipsters. We know everything there is to know about Dynamics 365.
Combined.
That's right. Well, yeah.
Speaking of Outlook, I forgot to ask you, Joel. One of my clients complained. She's been using Outlook with CRM for Outlook for quite some time, and she enjoys. She tracks the items, and particularly she organizes. She receives replies from the marketing emails, and she tracks them to the campaign. So she says regarding to campaign, and then she enabled Outlook app. And her first complaint was that it killed CRM for Outlook, like it just gone. And then she complained that Outlook app doesn't allow her to set regarding to the campaign. What's up with that?
Yeah, I don't know. But the first part is similar with my experience. And I've never gotten official confirmation, but apparently when you use the new app, it disables CRM for Outlook, the traditional add-in. And I don't know why. I don't know if there's some kind of conflict that happens, but I've reproduced that same behavior. And you might say, well, why would you want to run both? I think the reason you would want to do that is less than it used to be, but this was going back to 2016 when there were severe limitations such as you couldn't track a contact. In that case, I wanted to have the lightweight app to be able to track when I was in Outlook Web or whatever.
Correct.
But then
That's what she wants. She wants a lightweight app in Outlook OWA, but she wants full on in full Outlook. Hey, I just had an idea.
So when I go to file and go to add-ins and manage add-ins, I can re-enable it, but next time I restart Outlook, it will disable it.
Now I wonder, like, imagine if the real reason behind this would be a beef between two development teams. Like there are two teams developing it, and let's say John from Outlook app team writing code, and he says like, I remember Jill from the Outlook CRM for Outlook team said something nasty about me at the last corporate party, so I'm gonna sneak in these 2 lines of code. They're gonna disable CRM for Outlook. Take that.
No, here I found the transcript of the product team meeting. It said it doesn't have the names on it, but basically what I said. Well, we know that when CRM for Outlook is enabled, Outlook performance stinks. So let's disable it because we don't want people saying I turned on the app and my Outlook performance still sinks. Yeah, so I don't know, and like I said, I think for most users, there now is less reason, unless you need to track to campaigns or something crazy like that. But now that since you can even insert knowledge base articles and sales literature for the 5 people that do that, I think I wish it was different. And I think I had one computer where they both did work, and maybe it was I installed the CRM for Outlook after I enabled the app, maybe something like that. I also know we had a tip of the day back a long time ago about how to re-enable the Outlook app using a registry key. Maybe there's something you could do with that. I don't know, but yeah, that's consistent with what I've seen.
Does that have anything to do with maybe the synchronization thinking it's syncing to a different organization? It shouldn't. It shouldn't.
With server-side sync, which is required to do the do the Outlook the lightweight client, there's no synchronization happening inside of Outlook.
Yeah, that's right. So none at all.
Right.
I don't know. All right. So Sean, you said you were sharing some news you found about the relationship insights.
Yeah, I've been
playing your adventures.
I've been playing with that a lot lately, and I really like it on the phone, especially. It doesn't take a lot to get a lot of really good detail from the cards. For example, simple things on the phone like you have a meeting and the time goes past. It's not necessarily you complete the appointment. Just the time goes past. You'll get the card that says, "We noticed you just ended a meeting. Would you like to save the notes about this meeting in Dynamics 365?" So it's prompting you to enter your, follow up. I really like that. The email engagement is very fast. So I've been finding that if I go in and if I send an email while I was going through my testing, and I use the example of I'm interested in a service your company provides, and send that email, when it comes into Dynamics 365 through Exchange, that card prompts and says, you have someone that's a potential lead for services. The way that the Exchange and Dynamics 365 databases are culling that information, and that Azure, machine learning on top of it, pulling those keywords and grabbing those cards, popping them up, I've found to be very, very helpful and useful and quick. Now, there was a couple little nuances I had to go through in order to get it working. Something that's not in the documentation online, and
Like
I'll be
start attending meetings.
no. Well, yeah, that's a prerequisite. But no, the to get the functionality showing, to get the cards showing, I went through this
Yeah, I
standard
remember you were
configuration.
complaining about this.
Yeah, I went through all the configuration that was online, to the letter, and the cards weren't presenting themselves. There was an additional step that I got from the product team, is you have to do the quote unquote onboarding, and I didn't understand what that meant because there was no reference to that at all in the
You have to go through 3 days of training.
Yeah, well, after the second day of getting frustrated with it, what you have to do is you have to go into the sales activity social dashboard. Once you enable that dashboard, or once you launch that dashboard, the assistant that's on the What's New pane is essentially initializing that functionality for you.
So what you're saying, I can't use this functionality at all, because every time I try to launch sales dashboard, it says you're not a real salesman and shuts itself down.
Exactly. So what I did is I also tried it with the marketing activity social dashboard and the customer service activity social dashboard, and any of those with the What's New pane and the assistant link that pops up in the social pane now. Once you do that, then you get that initialization, and then everything seems to work. I'm going to throw that up on CRM Tip of the Day, so we have that up there. But it was kind of fascinating, and just working through the functionality in a simple method that I was doing for a presentation I did for CRMUG today. It was really impressive how many cards I got with very few changes, and the way I could adjust the specifications in terms of how many days do I need to go before I'm alerted for an opportunity about to close, for example. How many days do I want to go before an account you get an alert that account doesn't have an activity against it. Things of that nature. It was very, very powerful and useful. And so for right now, I'm looking at my phone. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards already. And 3 of them on the phone, you get a today's records saying, here's some records you'll be working with today. So it puts those either cases or accounts front and center on your relationship assistant in your phone, so you can see who you're actually talking to, almost like a call list, which is pretty cool.
Sounds like Megan wife. Who are you talking to?
It's the nagger.
Exactly. But I liked it a lot. And I also noticed in my digging that there are even if you don't have Exchange Online, that was the big when we were at CRMUG Summit. The big thing was that you have to have Exchange Online. If you don't have that, then you're not really going to be able to use it. That's actually not true. There are features in Relationship Insights that you can still use even with on-prem. So
you're talking about on-premise Exchange, not on-premise CRM, right?
Correct. It's Exchange Online, but if you're using Exchange on-prem, you still can get Relationship Assistant with just not with the cards for Exchange, and you can still do email engagement. So you can still get the email tracking, find out when they opened it, find out when they opened or clicked on a link, that kind of thing. You still get that functionality, and you get the all the cards, the action cards, just not the ones for Exchange, because that does require online. And if you don't have Exchange implemented at all, you can still use Relationship Assistant, but only the base cards are used. So it's pretty neat. And the auto capture feature, I was very impressed with auto capture. you send an email, it's in your Exchange if you have Exchange Online, and it prompts you right on that record very quickly, within like about 2 minutes. So I was pretty impressed with that. Pretty neat functionality altogether.
Which one of the things I would like to see? I know you're still digging into this, but which of those features works for emails sent from Exchange, not through CRM? I mean, does that?
Oh
Does
no,
that?
I did that. I
Okay.
did that very test. I sent it from my Hitachi email, and I just copied or I had like a copy on a the same email address as a contact, and it appeared on the contact record as an email I might want to track. So it's
Okay.
looking, and I didn't track it. I didn't have the Outlook, the Dynamics 365 for Outlook installed on my email, in my Outlook, and it prompted me on my contact record asking me if I wanted to track it. I also did the same thing. I sent an email in from my personal email, which was tied to one of the contacts, and that's how I got the services
But
card.
what I mean is, if you want to do the thing where you see the metrics on how on the email assistant that tells you when people opened your email, did they do it on an iPhone? Does that work on emails not sent from within the application?
Um,
Ooh, I wouldn't think so, because
I don't think it does.
well,
yeah,
let me
because it
hold on.
does
I'll,
track in
I'll
pixels, right? There is no magic about it.
hold on.
If I turn off, if I turn off images on my emails and say never show images received from Joel, you're not gonna see any stats from me when I opened email and so forth. There's no magic about it. It's a tracking pixel, right? So if you send in it from the device that doesn't know about this tracking, um, it's not gonna happen. Though could be, on Prem Exchange we're still using, and we're gonna lose it when we move online. We're using product Exclaimer. You probably know the product, heard of it, right? And on premises it works wonders. No matter where you send in from, it injects whatever you configure on the outbound. So it can inject, in theory, tracking pixels and things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised that eventually it will do something like that.
Well,
You know.
Right.
you still can, even with on-prem Exchange, you can still get the email engagement functions. I'm pulling up my demo system right now, going to the activities for my contact, and okay, so here's an email that I don't have tracked. If I open it, oh, it's going to launch Outlook online. So
That's it.
it's not letting me. Yeah, it's not letting me do that. So yeah, so it looks like if I
Okay,
want
from now
to,
on, everyone, when Sean is on to OCC list, use online devices. Do not use Outlook. Otherwise, he will follow you around. He will nag you.
that's
He will
right.
invite you to the meetings. He will turn up to meetings uninvited.
That's
Um,
right.
yeah. So
The email engagement though, I did send an email with a link to our podcast and a link to our sponsor Kingsway Soft, and I received that on my personal email, and I did open it, and I clicked on the link for Kingsway Soft, and that recognized within about 2 minutes. Um, I opened it on two different devices, and it showed that I opened it on two different devices. Um, I used the reminder functionality to follow up, and that worked seamlessly. The only thing I didn't have Outlook for Business. I'm sorry, OneDrive for Business set up so that the attachment tracking would function.
I tell
But
you
other
one
than
other
that,
thing you didn't do. You
was that?
didn't send email about our second sponsor, Alexa CRM.
No, yeah, I know. I didn't do that either. I'm sorry. In my test, I only did it the one time, so sorry about that. My next test will be for our other sponsor, Alexa CRM. My apologies, sir. But yeah, I think it's really great functionality. It works very quickly. I had no problems with it outside of the initial setup, but really cool stuff.
I'm going to
Oh,
use it when I send George the email telling him I got a 95 on my Dynamics 365 customization exam, so I can track how long it takes me to send him to send me the money.
Mm-hmm.
and I'll send you
Agreed.
money with the tracking pixel as well.
This episode of CRM Audio is sponsored by Alexa CRM. WordPress powers more than 25% of all the websites on the internet and is the number one choice for blogs, websites, and portals because it's open source, simple to use, reliable, and extendable. Dynamics CRM has become a de facto standard in sales, marketing, customer service, and industry solutions. Now they can work together thanks to the Dynamics CRM WordPress plugin built with love by the Alexa CRM team. Capture forms, engage your users and customers, all without writing any code. Control your site in WordPress, keeping your data in CRM. To build the plugin, Alexa CRM has created an open source Dynamics CRM PHP toolkit, unlocking the world of Dynamics for PHP developers. Download your 30-day trial from alexacrm.com/plugin and instantly create a portal by connecting your CRM and WordPress site. We thank Alexa CRM for their sponsorship of CRM Audio.
Well, I have been on a kind of a productivity kick lately. And so I've been trying this service called Rescue Time, which has both a free and a paid version. And what it does is it's a plugin that runs in your browsers, either Chrome. It also tracks things in IE. But basically, it's kind of a personal monitor for how you spend your time. So, like, sometimes I find myself easily distracted by things like Facebook or Twitter or things like that. And so I've been using this to really, kind of just log my time and see how I spend my day and where I'm maybe spending time frivolously and that could be better spent for other things. And I've got some really interesting stats out of it. So, for example, I can tell I have used Microsoft Notepad for 14 minutes and 1 second today.
And
I
and
spent,
Whoa.
that does
yeah.
what for you?
It makes me see that, wow, I'm spending way more time in my email than I should be. And so try and find more productive ways or like triage the amount of time I spend in certain applications. And so anyway, it's helpful. I don't know that I'll use it long time,
Look,
but especially I think if you find yourself like wanting to spend less time during work hours doing things like Facebook or ESPN.com or something like that. It's interesting because once you see the stats of where your time is actually going, then you realize, you know what, I got more time than I think I do. I'm just using it in less optimal ways.
interesting. I use a similar program called Limitless, but it works, I believe. I'm not sure if it works on, say, Firefox or IE, but it works really, really well on Chrome. So does about the same things, but it's got some nice goodies. It's got some analytics where you spend time, total time in the browser, by category, by site, but it also has nice features like quick to-do list and notes. So I can invoke like new tab, and there is a notepad which is persistent across the browser. So it's really nice to take notes and what's not, but it's personal preferences. I find myself using OneNote more and more, kind of
Mm-hmm.
getting into it, doing virtually taking notes about everything. And reason number one is that OneNote can search really, really well. It can search text in images, and if you configure it right, it can search for text in voice recordings as well.
You know
So,
what has driven my usage of OneNote more and more is office groups. Um,
Yeah.
Before office groups, I would say I used OneNote on occasion, and now it is pretty much every meeting I have, I'm using OneNote to take notes.
and how office groups change that?
Because it becomes more than just a notebook on my laptop. It's now a an artifact of the project, and by having that collaboration, if someone has a question about what happened in a meeting, maybe they couldn't be there. Now they can easily go to the office group, look at the notebook, and see what I've
Oh,
taken.
so it's with the Office group, you can set up an automatic share of OneNote, which is specific for the meeting.
Right.
Yeah, it automatically creates a notebook similar to what you would have if you had the CRM OneNote integration.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's especially if you got things like a project team or something like that where people are sharing, taking notes in different meetings and things like that. Yeah, it's fantastic for that.
Yeah, that's really
It also
increasing my
makes me
usage.
feel it also makes me feel vastly inferior in my note taking ability because I'll have a project manager who there was one project manager that we have who it practically every time somebody coughs during a meeting she writes it down in the notes and so it's like mine are like chicken scratch compared to that. I have like the main big bullets and she has like every word everybody says like a court reporter.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
your
I've been
tool,
there.
Sean?
Well, now I'm going to first make the proclamation before you can even say it, George. I am not a developer. However, I came across this tool. It's Dynamic CRM Build Tools, and it's on the Visual Studio Marketplace. Um, it looks really intuitive and quite useful. Um, it gives you a really nice UI for
So
task
where would I
catalogs.
go?
Yeah,
Walk me through.
I put a link in our chat.
No,
You
just
can,
tell me. Oh, okay, you
uh,
did. Okay.
yeah. So
We have a
it looks
chat?
like it. Yeah. You didn't. Oh well. Okay, that makes sense. Now I know why you don't listen. So it's got a lot of cool tools. Like it's got a task catalog for all your tasks related to your development, build automation, and it's all built on the framework. And
No, it's not a framework, it's framework.
oh well, okay, yeah. Based on how it's written here, you're correct. But it looks it looks really really clean UI. It looks very well put together. And again, I'm not a developer, so I could be completely wrong. But this is a kind of a format where I think you could expose this functionality to other parts of your project team and really get a good
This
place
is
to
really
build
interesting.
automation. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard. I looked at CI framework. I'm not sure if it was this one in infancy, but it wasn't really up to scratch. But it was like a couple years ago. Maybe it
hmm
was this one just in its early days, and now it does look solid.
And it's part of the Visual Studio Marketplace, so it integrates with Visual Studio, which is great. Um,
Oh, then I have a tool um, for DevOps, basically, who are people who deploy things. I was impressed. You know how we were deploying a couple web apps and we needed HTTPS and couldn't justify, exorbitant fees
mhm.
charged by providers. So you probably heard about Let's Encrypt initiative.
Yeah, you did a tip of the day about that. That was the thing that
Yeah.
needed to be
Yeah, but what I
renewed every
did
90 days or
now
something.
in Azure, it's in beta, so disclaimer, but if you do a bit of work and you configure things right, it will run. There is an add-on in Azure Marketplace that allows you to install Let's Encrypt. It installs a web job and it does all the things with certificates, and it basically runs a web job continuously, checking your certificate for expirations. If it's less than 2 weeks, before expire, it just renews it automatically. So really, really nice. Boom, it just happened. It's like 7 or 8 domains in one go. Took me probably all up like 20 minutes to walk through the instructions to set it up, but I was really impressed. So just go, and there is an add-on in Marketplace. But this one, the CI framework, that looks solid. That looks solid. I will
So
give it a go.
what other tools does that frame your work have?
Well, based on yeah, I see where it says frame your work now. Uh, it's got a task catalog for it. There's tasks for the export solution, import solution, pack solution, package deployer, ping, which checks connectivity to the environment, and a publish customizations task. So you can click on those with a a nice little UI. Click the add button and it does it. Build automation tool. And then it's got release automation capabilities, where you can enter in a connection string and a solution
Visual
file.
Studio Team Services.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
it's continuous integration. That's impressive.
All right, so George, I have a question for you. We remember back last year, I think it was the MVP Summit episode where you interviewed our friend Daryl Labar, and when asked what his favorite new tool was, he replied Flow.
Yeah.
And you did not have a positive reaction to him, but you've written recently several tips of the day about Flow. So let me ask you: is your love of Flow growing? Is your Flow flowering and increasing, or what?
Not really. I still prefer Logic apps, which Flow is built upon. But I see the usefulness, and the reason why tips were flowing about Flow was that we did some training where Flow was part of the end-to-end integration. So I had to spend some time with it, and I discovered some nice features. But it always hits in, speaking of that, I mentioned earlier Joel Spolsky, right?
Right.
He also introduced the concept years ago. He introduced the concept of leaky abstraction. So when you try to simplify things and create an abstraction, sooner or later your abstraction will leak, right? And expose the underlying complexity. And I find that Flow, compared to Logic apps, has this leaky abstraction. And the example is I did the tip on waiting for the reply when you send email with the questions, action buttons, whatever it's called. Like you can send email and it will embed a couple buttons that people can press and you receive a reply. Only one problem. There's no way to set up a wait period. Say, I want to wait for your reply for 3 days and then move on with my life. All right, the way it's configured right now, it looks like it will wait indefinitely for your reply. So what I need is something like parallel wait that we have in Dynamics workflow, in Dynamics 365 workflow, which I find exceptionally useful, if not underused concept. We covered it like years ago in tip of the day, that you want something, you're waiting for something, but then in parallel you set up a timer and you say, I want to wait for reply from Joel or 3 days, whatever happens first. And Flow doesn't give you this ability. Suddenly the abstraction leaks and say, there's not enough tools. I can't configure it the way I want. It makes it easy for me to go 90%, but then it makes it impossible to close off the remaining 10%. Whilst in Logic apps, what I know is that if push come to shove, I can open configuration, which is JSON file, and then tweak it. No one knows how to do it, including myself, but in theory I could. Open JSON file, reconfigure it the way I want it, set up some timers and things like that, and do the right thing. Whilst in Flow, they took away this capability from me. Though under the hood, Flow actually is the same, has the same structure as Logic apps. That's what's interesting. That's indeed is interesting. It's the days come to mind when Microsoft Access has this notion of the Microsoft Access database, but it lives in SQL Server. Remember? I don't remember this construct, like linked SQL Server database.
Yep.
Yeah, so very similar. It's kind of you're on Microsoft Access, but no, in fact, you're on SQL Server. But enough about that. No, I see Flow. I see usefulness of it. Unreliability still kind of drives me nuts a bit. There's no SLA on Flow. You can't put SLA, so you can't be sure that things are gonna happen when they say it's gonna happen. Oh, well, in other news, we've got the biggest heat wave in Australia ever for the next 3 days. So I'm camping in the office where it's a free air conditioning. We've got for you guys to translate, in the West, they promised 111 today. In my part of town, it's a bit cooler. It's about 105. But yeah, no, yeah, 100, about 104, 105, yeah. But in the West, yeah, it's gonna be like that, and it's gonna be like that for 3 days. Not cool at all.
So George, I was going to ask you, are you going to be coming to the CRMUG Focus conference in May?
Okay, here's the deal. I was going to
thing.
talk about it. So let me insert a plug for the for another conference. I'm not coming to CRMUG. I just can't afford to hang around Europe for 1 month. So I'm coming to Extreme365, which is in Lisbon, and I advise people to have a good look and schedule your travel so you can come to Extreme365 in Lisbon. What used to be known as Extreme CRM, now Extreme365. It will be early March, mid-March in Lisbon, 13 to 17. But here's the interesting part. The interesting part is that it used to be known as the partner conference. So you get partners, you get developers talking to each other for 3 days. So it all was nice and cozy, but it's going to be 5 days, and 2 of those days is going to be new thing customer conference part. So you can register either for the first 3 or for the remaining 2 or for both of those, but it's going to be partner Extreme365 and customer Extreme365. So that's one news. Then I advise people to go to CRMUG. I can't be there, but there is 1 week between Extreme and CRMUG. So if you find yourself in Europe with nothing better to do, then we are going to be running a developers masterclass in Stockholm, 20 to 22nd of March. That's a nice way to spend time between those 2 conferences. So especially if you live up north in Europe, by all means, we'll insert link into a podcast. Our good friend Gustav is organizing it, and he will make sure that that will be an experience you will never forget. And I'll be doing the developers part, making life hell. So,
okay.
Yes. And then CRMUG. So it's going to be, spring of the conferences and training.
Okay. What kind of development are you going to be teaching at the masterclass?
I'm going to teach a bit of everything. So how to be a better developer, like how to write tests that perform, sorry, not tests that perform, code that performs using latest and greatest SDK, how to use Web API, how to use other languages than C# and JavaScript. So how to speak Node.js, for example, and I'll show you how it makes life easier. Then we're going to talk about Azure integration, so Azure functions, web jobs, a bit of hooking up to machine learning and service bus, and then how to do authentication properly. There are a bazillion ways to leak your information and make it unsecure, so how to properly secure your deployments and how to secure your code. Things like that, and then we spend time on portals and without iframes doing things that people think that are impossible to do, like doing payment processing on shopping carts and things like that. So it's a bit of everything that that developer can do and should do.
Ah, nice. So learn that great stuff and see Gus stuff and eat some Swedish meatballs or something.
Herring and meatballs and visit IKEA.
And furniture you can put together from a box.
Oh, we had it as a team building activity schedule it, I think.
Yeah, see how many people wind up with bloody fingers and cursing.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, definitely. But it's gonna be a great spring. So come into Lisbon, then Stockholm, then Amsterdam.
Very good.
Are you going to be there?
I will not. I will be. I'll be taking my my CRM certification exam, for which I'm not studying, and getting a 90% or more.
So you're trying to earn some money instead of spending it.
Exactly.
I see what you're doing there.
All right. Well, stay safe in your heat wave. Stay inside. Don't go outside for anything.
I won't. I promise.
This has been CRM Audio, the Microsoft Dynamics CRM podcast. You can hear previous episodes on our website, crm.audio. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, follow us on Twitter at CRM Audio, or leave us a comment on our Facebook page, facebook.com/CRM podcast. If you have any topic suggestions or questions that you would like for us to answer on a future episode, please drop us an email at voice@crm.audio. Special thanks to Dale Simmons for our theme music. Go check out his website, dalesimmons.com. Please join us next time on CRM Audio.